Hello everybody, I'm Chickamungus, and I'm bringing you a review today of Castlevania Judgment. This is a fighting game, the first fighting game ever made by Castlevania, and it's for the Wii. This story is pretty simple. Galamat resurrects a Time Reaper to go 10,000 years into the past to defeat Dracula. Now, Aeon, a mysterious man who controls time, finds out about this, and he decides to pull a bunch of different fighters from history into a time rift to defeat the Time Reaper. Now, there are 14 different characters in this game, all stemming from different Castlevania titles from the past and the present, like Bloodlines and Order of Ecclesia. You get the choice of fighting on the side of good, with characters like Simon Belmont, Maria Renard, and Eric Lacard, and you get the choice of fighting on the side of bad, like Carmilla, Death, and Dracula himself. This game has lots of modes that will keep you busy. There is a story mode that lets you play through each character's individual story. Arcade mode lets you fight through a series of computer players. There's a versus mode that lets you duke it out with your friend. There's a survival mode will let you fight back-to-back opponents, and it replenishes your life bar only a little bit after each match. At the end, it records how many enemies you've defeated, so all your friends can see. There's a training mode that lets you practice all your moves. There's also a castle mode, which is similar to Soul Calibur 2's Weapons Master. It lets you move room to room, clearing level where there's handicaps equipped to you or your opponents. And the final level is Dracula. In this mode, you can also obtain accessories that you can use to customize your characters. Another interesting mode is the Wii Connect mode. Wii Connect uses the Wi-Fi to connect you to players from all over the world. You can play against them in normal matches and ranked matches, and check your rankings against all the players. You can also mark players as rivals after you play them. Now this puts these players in a rival list where you can come back to them and play them in rival matches. This game's most genius feature is the super finisher move that each character has. These are huge, flashy, cinematic moves that devastate your opponents in a flurry of combos, and most importantly, drain about 50% of your opponent's stamina. Now, each character has their own special attack that can be performed by pressing down on the D-pad when your skill gauge is full. Now be careful when you throw this move out, because it depletes your skill bar that you build up by attacking and blocking your opponent, and it may leave you vulnerable if you miss. I'll have to say, my favorite finishers are Carmilla's Heaven's Gate.
Come, let's play! I will give you the greatest of pleasures. Ah, so satisfying. And now, you die!
In Aeon's 13-hour lament.
This will just take a minute. Jealousy of the whip does not excuse your arrogance with the lance. And time marches on. Right on time. Right on time. This moment was preordained.
One thing that sets this fighter apart from the many other fighters out there right now are the cool and interactive stages. For example, the stage Abbey Ruins has zombies that roam around and attack you if you get in their way. Castlegate's Waterway has a giant fish that jumps over the level and destroys the stage. Torture Chamber has a giant scythe that swings in the middle of the level, spikes shooting up from the floor, and a toxic pool that'll drain your HP if you fall or get knocked into it. There's also barrels on the stages that you can throw at your opponent or break to obtain items inside. There's other power-ups that appear on stage also as you're fighting that restores your stamina or increases your hearts. On top of having a main weapon in this game, you also have sub-weapons. These include projectiles like crosses and daggers, magics like gravity circles, and summons like Bat Swarm and a magic swallow that'll attack your enemy. I like the music in this game. I think it brings back the old Castlevania feel in like a new remix way. But the voice acting is not very interesting. It could be monotone at sometimes and kind of lackluster. But it's a fighting game, and at any point, you don't really pay attention to the talking after you defeat the story mode. This game was designed by Takeshi Obata, who worked on Death Note. And you can definitely see the influence on all of the characters. Some would say that Maria even resembles Misa Misa, which for me isn't really a bad thing because I think it adds a fresh take on the game. But for Castlevania fans, they may be a little disappointed to see all of their favorite characters so differently. Now, the stage designs are fun and creative, but I think some of the color choices are a bit dull, even for a Castlevania game. The flashy cinematics, though, are right on, especially the finishers in the opening cinematic, and I give that an A for a Wii game. Now, I played lots of fighters, and in my opinion, using the Wiimote felt a little too frantic for this game. Like, I found myself flailing my arm about, desperately trying to hit something, which was made even a little more awkward by the weird camera angles that will throw you off. In some matches, I found myself wasting my skill gauge, which was a little annoying because it takes a little while to build up. Now, in my opinion, it also takes a little too long to recover from a knockdown. Now, to solve some of these problems, I recommend using the GameCube controller or the Wii Classic controller. My final thoughts on this game is that it's a fun, casual fighter with some really fun, innovative ideas. Now, bringing a classic like Castlevania to a next-gen fighting game was pretty ballsy, but I think they pulled it off with a few quirks that hopefully can be patched in the future. I like the fact that they let you fight on the good or evil side, and I like the fun obstacles on the stages. The mini modes in the Wii Connect also allow for replayability. So, I say give this game a try. For the Castlevania fans who can get over seeing their redesigned characters and would like to try this series out in a different way, and for casual gamers who would just like to duke it out with their friends in a fun, simple fighter. This has been a Chickamungus KILLTACULAR review.